Yeah, I agree with you. You don't want the government playing a part in this. So, for example, my brother religious marriage with his wife, but it's nothing related to the government. So, in the eyes of Allah, in their religion, in our community, they've been married, but not so much legally, because he's smart enough to know, like, why the fuck would you involve the government? It gets a bit tricky when you're an atheist and you also don't like the government, because then who the
Yeah.
fuck do you get married in front of? So I'm gonna try and figure that out. But I I think, look, this is a very serious long term question. And so the only advice that I know for a fact is like good advice that I can give you. You seem like you've got like a good, smart head on your shoulders. And so what I would recommend is, let's say you do meet a really nice woman, make it take a while before you have sex. Now, perhaps the best case scenario would have been marriage, but perhaps maybe we're too far away from that. And that seems very unrealistic these days. Don't make the mistake that I did, where one, you're only seeking out sex from women, because it no matter what any red pill guy does tell you, it's just because they haven't meditated and they're not aware and they don't journal and stuff. Any man who is aware of himself knows for a fact the damage that is caused from him sleeping around, not only to himself but also to the women that you get. So certainly don't sleep around. Meet a woman and really like do your justice. Almost imagine you're like this is good. Imagine you're like, you are a top level company, like you are someone, the HR, the guy who recruits employees for a top level company, top level entrepreneur. And so you're going to do your due diligence before you hire someone. You go on the interview, you fact check them, you see everything, and maybe you even go to the extreme level. Like some, the top level companies do this. They don't just look at the potential employee. They go and look at their friends' social media pages. They look at their LinkedIn pages. They literally email their previous employers and see like how were they. They might even look at their family. Like when you get into like the higher levels of these big companies, they're doing like weird, like paranoid research on you. They're literally gonna know that like your mother cheated on your dad or something, that your parents are divorced. That these companies will know this, and you should know this. Like what I've realized recently is finding a wife or finding a long-term partner is exactly the same as just hiring employees. Becoming a employer myself, and now realize like you've got to vet this person, you've got to take it slow. You don't just add them onto the team straight away. You literally like keep interviewing them. Maybe you interview other people. Now you can interview multiple girls at once, but that doesn't mean that you need to like have sex with them all. So it's like take some time, and essentially like the job is given when you give her the title of you guys are in a relationship, and maybe at that point you should have sex. I think it's hard for me to recommend the extreme level of like, get married first. But perhaps it should just be simply make sure you're boyfriend and girlfriend first, and do that not because you want her to be your girlfriend, but because you are literally vetting her to see, okay, is she going to hold up to my standards? One, is she good enough? Two, will she actually stay good enough with my upwards trajectory, because I'm a man on self-improvement? And so these are two massive ones. The first one comes down to some fundamentals that she can never reverse. Are her parents together? Are they good people? Are her family good people? Has she taken drugs? Has she slept with guys before you? What has she done? All of these things. Her character, her personality, growth mindset, self-improvements. Does she read similar? Does she have similar values? Is she based? Does she like the government? Does she want to stay in this? These things. And then just think really deeply about, not just is she on self-improvement, but will she actually be able to match your rate of growth? And this is the hard one, which is difficult. This is very difficult for men like us who are quite extreme on self-improvement. There's a lot of guys who just go to the gym and then they work kind of hard in their jobs. I'd say we're way more into like the extremes of self-improvement, where this is like our full-time job almost. This is like our major interest. We have interest in like in reading and video editing and stuff, but in general it's like if there's one major theme of our lives, it's literally just improving ourselves. So it's very hard for someone to match that. And what's happened to me, which may or may not happen, probably will happen to pretty much everyone listening here if they end up getting into a relationship, you of course meet a woman who's on your level. That's how you were able to attract her. And if you stay on self-improvement and you don't get complacent, there's going to be a time, usually for me within 3 to 6 months. My rate is very fast because of the YouTube channel and the explosive like business growth and everything, but let's say 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, that you are just undeniably just higher value than her, like way higher. And that now you can attract women who are now on your level here, and she's just not able to catch up. So this is something I'm still trying to figure out myself. You can meet a woman who's actually really nice and really fits your life, and then suddenly 6 months later you look at her and just think like, oh fuck, like I've actually changed so much in 6 months that like I'm settling with you already. Maybe before you make that commitment with her, maybe before you pair bond with her, you consider conversations like this.